to each and every member of the Maryland General Assembly. We can reach out to the citizens associations, those local newspapers that have editorial pages, and write open letters to give a clear picture as to what the gravity of this issue is. But more importantly, we all can be individual ambassadors for the cause. We can go to various meetings and forums. A couple Saturdays ago, we had a congressional forum, and I posed a question about their position on redistricting the state of Maryland. Interesting, some of the responses that we got. I have drafted a generic letter that we can use as a basis for any type of correspondence that we would like to send out. I think this is an issue, like I said, that we can grow, we can learn, and we can benefit. That's all I have. Thank you so much for your time.
Maryland has been described as probably the most gerrymandered state in the United States of America. And this will allow us to take a look at just how we're aligned correctly or how we're fragmented by community. And we're going to stay on top of this. We're going to continue to monitor it, and it will be periodically updated in our newsletter that you should have by the 20th of this month. So a lot of the legislative initiatives that we're supporting will be in that newsletter. And I encourage you to give me a call or give Mr. Brian a call or someone a call to discuss the things that you have questions about. Now we're going to move fast forward, and we have Ms. Belinda Queen Howard here from our Democratic Central Committee. I asked her to come and share some wisdom with us. And I think Mr. Bob Ross of NAACP was coming. Hey, Bob, let's give him a hand. Did a great job. And Mr. Edward Barrow from our school board, I see him back there. Let's see, any other elected officials I may have overlooked? Okay, all right. My eyesight's not what it used to be. Yeah, but I do see also I'm inducted from the Coalition of 100 Black Women sitting over here. Raise your hand. All right. I have my ticket from Lisa Brock.
All right, that's what I'm talking about.
Good evening to everyone. I brought up my fellow Central Committee representatives in your district.
I'm Nora Carmichael from the 26th District.
Nora Carmichael is the representative from the 26th District. I am Belinda Queen Howard. I represent the 25th District. We are here from the Central Committee. I sit down and listen to your Vice President say some of the things that we actually going to tell you about going and voting and how voting is important and how if you don't vote, please definitely don't complain. You have the right to complain if you don't vote. And I'm just going to say it frank. Everybody know me. I'm just going to tell you. If you don't vote, we really don't want to hear your complaints because every vote counts. And Dr. Dula stated that. So Dr. Dula invited me to come out and talk about the Central Committee and what's going on with the Central Committee. So we're going to tell you about what's going on, what the Central Committee has been doing for almost 2 years since most of us have been elected. The chair of the Central Committee at this time is Ms. Cheryl Landers, who is our chair. And Ms. Landers had a strategy, and we're going to talk about her strategy, and this is what the Central Committee has been working on. With the Central Committee and with the elected officials, it is a no longer I. Most politicians, y'all know, it's all about I, what I'm gonna do. But we have a saying, it is no longer I. We are working together with our elected officials. It is a we, because as an I, you cannot make it as an I. Collectively, we have to work together. So the Central Committee has taken on this model, and for the last 2 years, we have been working with our elected officials. So the Democratic Party in Prince George's County will and continue and will succeed, and that's what has been going on. We worked as a I, and that's why we have a Republican in the House right now, because too many Democrats are working as an I. And as I said, I'm a frank person, I'm gonna tell you like it is. So we have to take away the I, and we have to start working together as a Democratic Party. It is a we, and we must continue to work together. And we does not just include the elected officials, the Democratic Central Committee. It consists of each and every one of you. We need you all to work together. You know, one of the things growing up, my grandmother used to say, word of mouth is still the best thing. We have social media, we still have the telephone, but word of mouth, getting it out to your family members and friends. And one of the most important things I share now, one of the things we don't do not just as Democratic, but as African Americans. We don't share our history with our grandkids and the generation to come, so they don't understand why it's so important to vote. Because we as African Americans, we act like we had all of this. We always had the big houses. We always had the cars. But let's be realistic. Some of you wore your sister and brother's shoes. You wore the sister and brother's clothes. You shared a bedroom. So you need to share that history with your kids and the generation and let them know that that's how we have overcome. And that's why it's important for each and every one of you, for your grandkids and for your neighbors, for you to drag them out to vote. So I do have a little bit of information that I'm going to share on, if you don't have it, on our 2-year strategy. So we just wanted to share that to you. We are still working together, and we are working hard to change the next election. We will no longer have a Republican government. We will get a Democrat in there because we will work together, and that's each and every one. And again, I do thank you for inviting us to come out to vote, come out to talk. But also, I brought a little bit of information because I heard she was sharing about where the early voting is. I do have information about where the early voting is in this district. It is 8 locations, so you know. One of them is in Brandywine, which is at the Baden Community Center. So if you're in the Brandywine area, if you work in that area, it's at 13601 Baden Westwood Road. Okay, in Bowie, it's going to be at the Bowie Gymnasium at 4100 Northview Drive in Bowie. So if you're at work, you still can go early and vote. College Park, it's going to be at the College Park Community Center, and that's at 5050 Pierce Avenue in College Park. And if you're out in Law, it's going to be at the Law Beltsville Senior Activity Center at 71 County Road. But out here going close to us, it's going to be at the Suitland Community Center, which is at 5600 Regency Lane in Forestville. It's going to be at the South Tech Center, which is really close, at 700 Box Road in Fort Washington. And then it's going to be at Upper Marlboro at the Community Center at 5400 Marlboro Racetrack. And last but not least, it's going to be at the Wayne Curry Sports and Learning Complex. So you have a lot of places to go and vote. The drag people who always say they can't go on the 26th, we have a lot of days for early voting. We need your votes. We just like Dr. Dula said, voting does not just count when the president is running, but we need your votes now so we can continue to run this country as a democratic process where everybody counts and your vote will make a difference. Would you thank you?
Sign me up, Coach. I'm ready. Vote, vote, vote. Yes.
For those of you who live in the 27th district, your Central Committee representative is Sydney Harrison.
Okay, exactly. And Sydney was here last month. We'll try to get him back again next year as well. But moving right along, vote. That's the number one point on the agenda right now. And we're looking forward to working with the NAACP, the community, foundation, and many others to make sure that we get out and canvass our entire county so that people understand the need to vote. All right, moving right along. At this particular time, we're going to have a congressional candidate come up by the name of Mr. Warren Christopher. He is a retired lieutenant colonel from the Army, and we welcome him back. And please come to the podium is yours, sir.
Thank you. Hey, good evening, everybody. How y'all doing? Good evening. Thanks so much to Dr. Dula, to the leadership of the South County Democratic Central Committee, to the elected officials, the community leaders, and most importantly to all of you. As you've heard from Dr. Dula, I am a retired lieutenant colonel from the Army. After serving for 24 years, I retired, and I became the Chief of Staff at the Department of the Interior, where I oversaw business enterprise for the federal government, more than $57 billion in procurement and acquisitions. I didn't stop there. I worked in the United States Senate on very important program committees like the Veteran Affairs Committee, like our Senate Armed Services Committee, and Small Business Committee. The most important thing that I've done is raise my 2 daughters, Ashley and Brittany. Every time I think about them, every time I say their names, it brings a smile to my face because I did that as a single dad, and I did that with the village. And so I'm so excited that God granted me the opportunity to raise those 2 young ladies, and they've become amazing young women. My oldest daughter, Brittany, She has a small business in Baltimore. She attended Morgan State University. And my youngest daughter, Ashley, she is in her 3rd year at Hampton University, and she's coming home tomorrow to hang out with Dad for spring break. So I'm excited about my 2 daughters. That being said, I honor women. I stand today boldly to profess that I am a male feminist. What does that mean? I am everything about women. Why? Y'all, let me tell you what my story is. I was raised by my grandmother in a little small town in Holy Trinity, Alabama. Holy Trinity, Alabama. I was raised by my grandmother because I was rejected and abandoned at birth. And so if it had not been for my bold grandmother, I wouldn't be the man that I am today. I went on and I had very influential women in my life to help me to continue on the path, whether it was through the military, whether it was working for Senator Clinton in the U.S. Senate, or whether it was serving as the chief of staff under both a male and a woman Secretary of the Interior. What is this all about? I will just tell you, I am sick and tired of being sick and tired of the same results. Y'all, every single cycle, we go to the polls and vote. We vote for the same cycle of establishment and career politicians, and we get the same results. Let me help you understand. And I honor Mr. Ed Burrows here. I've been to the Board of Education, and I will just tell you, a very bold leader for our community who is willing to stand up for the established. I understand and I appreciate relationships, but those relationships are affecting the everyday people out here. They're affecting seniors. Do you know that we do not have a legislation to support seniors? There's no rent control in the state of Maryland to keep seniors' rent from being raised every year. We talk about veterans. We don't have one homeless veteran shelter here in this district in Prince George's County. We talk about minority-owned small businesses. We have businesses leaving this state, leaving this district because the corporate tax rate is too high. We talk about women. Black women in Prince George's County lead the country in the highest number of breast cancer fatalities because we try to use the research and development that we use on white women to infer it on black women, and it's not the same. Wow. I can go on and on and on. Public education. I honor our teachers, and I spend a lot of time with our educators, and I honor them. They are facing some tough challenges. They tell me that the administration don't want to hear from teachers. They don't want to hear anything that they got to say because they want to deal with these high-paid executives. They want to deal with these people that are not in the classrooms. That's what teachers tell me. And I've been around this district quite a bit. And so that's why I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Let me tell you what I'll partner with people like from the Democratic Central Committee. Partner with other community leaders. Partner with, I see Ms. Duckett out there. I want to make sure that we are leveraging the experience and leadership. We have to begin to change the dynamics of our politics. We have to take back the political power that we have within individuals and use that to be collective. I've built a coalition with pastors. I went to pastors first because I understand that pastors are the ones that have their thumb on the everyday issues of our people. And so I partnered with them. And the reason that I did that is because I want to make sure that when it comes to workforce development, when it comes to making sure that our people, we have a have and have-nots in this county. If you're inside the Beltway, or if you're here in South County, the schools are very different than if you're living up where I live in Upper Marlboro or in Bowie. We know that that's a fact. So I want to make sure that we're leveraging these strong coalitions that have the political power in these institutions to bring about a change. I want to make sure that I'm using my experience as an executive in government to bring home prime government contracts for our minority-owned small businesses. You all have heard that if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And far too long, we've been on the menu. And you ask yourself, who's advocated for our minority-owned small businesses? Why aren't we getting the prime government contracts that we deserve? I can even go a little bit local. So many minority-owned small businesses tell me it's almost impossible to do business right here in Prince George's County. Why is that? And so what I want to do is to leverage the influence and the authority of this seat as a representative in Congress to provide you with access to prime government contracts. I've been there. How can I do that?